Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nightmare Collective. I'm Chris. Thanks for stopping by and watching my 4K review for James Wan's Dead Silence. This is coming to us from Scream Factory. Let's get into this really fast. It's gonna be a short, quick, to the point review so you can decide if this is something that you should pick up or not. All right, let's get right into it. This is a 2007 James Wan film. It's okay. I'll talk a little bit about what I think about the film at the very end, so if you wanna stick around for that, you're more than welcome to. But let's get into the video. So this is a new 4K scan of this movie, and overall I think it looks really good. They did add Dolby Vision here, and there is a little bit of grain, so I do think that that's all intact, and I really do like that. It was shot on film. It's not digital. Yes, everything now is basically being shot digital, especially with horror, because it's so cheap to do that you don't get a lot of film horror anymore. I mean, you do sometimes, but it's just not a prevalent thing overall. So I do like definitely seeing this. I think the music is great here. It is ironic because this soundtrack for me has always kind of sounded like the Exorcist theme. They're very similar, and so these coming out on the same days is kind of funny. We will get to the Exorcist 3 at some point whenever I pick that up. I do definitely want to talk about the Exorcist. All right, so there are two versions of this. Before I forget, there's this slip-covered version, and then there's also a special edition slipcover that's on Scream Factory's website. I'm not paying $40 for that thing. I'll put it up here if you want to look at it. There are some movies that I'm just not going to go for. If it's a Fog or The Carrie, something like that, that's in a steelbook and it looks really nice, They Live, I'm definitely willing to shell that out, but not for Dead Silence. I like James Wan, but not enough to spend $40 just for a different slip. That's going to sit on the shelf and you're never even going to notice it. So maybe one day, if it doesn't sell out, we'll do that. And I do really like it. I do really like it. I have to say that it's a really cool slipcover, but it's not a film that I am like, you know, chomping at the bit for. If they'd made a different one for like The Exorcist 3, hands down, I would have grabbed that one. But for Dead Silence, I don't know. I'm not going to grab it. It's a middle of the road movie. So let's get into the audio. This is where I'm a little bit disappointed. We're not getting an Atmos, and we haven't really been on a lot of Scream Factory stuff unless it's like a big tentpole thing like The Fog or something like that. But here, I would have liked to see it here. There's a lot that happens at the end of this movie that I think Atmos could have benefited from. It is a DTS HD mix, and it's fine. It is on the lower end, so on my system, I did have to turn it up at least like 7 to 8 decibels on my surround sound for it to actually be like audible. I don't know, it's just a lower volume film. We got a lot of that with like the Marvel stuff, and this is definitely the case of that. Whereas some of these DTSs, you do have to crank them up in order to hear them, you know, into the 65 decibel point, which I'm usually at like 55 with like an Atmos track. So this is definitely, I had to crack it up to like at least get to be able to where it's audible to where I think it sounds good. But overall, like I said, the video is really good. The audio is fine. You know, I didn't expect to get an Atmos, so I'm not like thoroughly disappointed, but I would have liked that. So let's get into the special features that they have added for this release. There is a new interview with Leigh Whannell, and that is pretty much it. The rest of these are from the Blu-ray that already existed. Leigh Whannell is great. He directed a bunch of stuff. He was in the original Saw with James Wan. He wrote that. He wrote a couple things with like Insidious. He directed The Invisible Man, Upgrade. So he's done a lot of stuff, you know, adjacent to James Wan. I think Leigh Whannell is a great writer and a solid director, and he is the one who wrote the screenplay for this, and James Wan directed. So this is when they were still like tag teaming stuff back in the day in 2007. But overall, I think it's a fine movie. You know, we can get into like the movie at this point. I think it's fine. It's not a bad movie. It's not great, but I am a sucker for a good like dummy. You know what I'm saying? You know, I love like Say Cheese and Die, and like God, what was that Goosebumps one? I'm like blanking on it now, but the one with the dummy, like I love all that stuff. So it kind of reminds me of like an adult Goosebumps, if you'll take that analogy on this. It's so it's a fun movie, but it does get a little bit off the rails at the end. You got a Wahlberg here. I'm not even gonna say his name because I don't remember what's his name. Donnie. We got a Donnie here. He's fine. The acting is pretty subpar. The other dude's from True Blood. I can't remember his name, but he was Sookie's brother, I believe, in True Blood. I may be mistaken. It's been like 10 years since I've watched True Blood, but he's in this, and so the acting is fine. I mean, it's a typical detective, somebody dies, and then something happens that's paranormal. That's what this movie is, But if you like a Dead Silence, you'll know whether or not you want to pick this up. But overall, I don't think it's a bad release. I think it's a solid release on the video front. You know, overall, the audio leaves a little bit to be desired, and the packaging is just okay unless you shell out for that special edition one from Scream Factory, which I definitely think you should do if you really like the movie. I definitely think that's the route to go. $40, that's up to you whether or not you want to spend that. All right, that's all I've got today. Thanks for stopping by and watching my 4K review. If you like the video, definitely go down there, leave a comment, let me know, are you going to be picking up this release, or are you going to be picking up The Exorcist 3 that also released today? Anything that you want to say down there, like the video, definitely helps in the algorithm, and subscribe to the channel. We've got a lot coming up this week. We've got my A24 video that I'm going to be releasing of The Lighthouse, so I'm going to link my other one, which was The Witch. You can definitely check that out, and that's a new series that I'm doing. And then I will link the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Steelbook 4K review that I did if you want to continue on with some 4K and physical media stuff. All right, that's all I've got, and I'll talk to you guys later.